You get to an audition and the character is meaty. Check. It's with a film company that have got an amazing repertoire of work behind them. Check. The story's incredible. Check. The film is paid. Check. You're excited. Check. And as you start reading the script and playing around with the character, you start to question yourself on whether your acting is convincing or it seems fake. You start imagining what could go wrong and you fail in the audition. A biggie being forgetting the lines. The one line you seem to have a block on that just will not sink in. You dive back into the scene and you don't even realise you are judging everything you're doing. Hello, this is a universal problem for actors. This is a big case of nerves taking over your performance. Now, the great news is you are not alone and it can be trained out of you. But there's some things we need to know first, and that is exactly what we are diving into in this episode of Unstoppable Actors.
You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode?
Hello, I am so happy to have you here. We're exploring all things nerves in today's episode, and because this is a common problem for actors that every single actor on the planet experiences at some stage of the career, it's going to be a goodie. We're going to dig deep with this. We're going to find out what is actually going on with these nerves. How can we train ourselves out of them? What can we do to stop them hindering our performances and making us feel crappy every time we come out of an audition, a self-tape, or off stage, or out of a performance? If you're new to the podcast, I'm so happy you found this episode. You're going to find it really, well, I hope, really insightful and inspiring. And really my aim with this is to help you feel really reassured at the end of the episode. And if you're a regular listener, hello! Absolutely love having you here, as always. Before I get started on this, I just want to let you know I've created a brand new course which is going to be free for the first 500 actors, and I am so unbelievably excited about it. I've put everything into this to give you the best of me so you can go on to deliver those performances that you absolutely dream about. But I need your help. So the course is called The Nerve Destroyer, Lose Yourself in the Role, a complete training for new and early career actors. And it's incredible. But what I want your help with is understanding your experience with nerves, understanding your relationship to nerves, because I want to make sure I've got all bases covered in this course. So if you head to bit.ly/unpick nerves, I'd love you to share there what your experience with nerves has been. I'm just in the final stages of finalising the course. It's all been recorded, but of course I just want to make sure I've got everything in there that hits every single problem you've had with nerves. So that link again is bit.ly/unpick nerves. There's 5 really easy questions to answer just to share with me what's gone on for you with nerves in performances and auditions. And you will basically be shaping this course. How exciting. And then obviously if you want to be one of the first 500 to get your hands on it free of charge, then you can let me know as well and I'll send it to you first so you don't have to pay for it. How exciting. Should we crack on with the episode then? Let's dive further into nerves. So we know that nerves are a universal problem for actors. And as I've already shared, the really good news is that you're not alone and it can be trained out of you. But we do need to know some things about nerves first. I really love to help you understand the theory behind nerves. So when you're doing the practical exercises, you understand why you're doing them. I think it's really important that we have that understanding. But first of all, I just want to bust a myth. There is a myth that goes around that says that you should feel some nerves before your performances because that shows that you care about your work. This is simply untrue. It means absolutely nothing if you don't feel nervous before an audition or before a performance. It doesn't mean you don't care about your work. That absolutely overrides all understanding of human physiology. However, I know you're not listening to the episode because of that. I know you're listening to it because nerves are debilitating your performances in some ways. They're making you deliver performances that you know aren't your best. And that doesn't make you feel good because they're flat, or you can't seem to connect emotionally, or the nerves are making you deliver performances where the lines just keep disappearing from your mind, despite the fact that you've spent absolutely hours trying to learn them. Or for some of you, you can hear your voice shaking. You can hear and feel your mouth getting drier, and that makes you panic, thinking that everyone else can hear this as well. Those are just some of the symptoms of nerves. It's not an exhaustive list. There are lots of other things that nerves do to us. But as I've already said, the great news is we can train this out of you. But I want to give you that theory. And so we need to dive into a very basic lesson about the nervous system for you to fully understand what's actually going on in your body, so you can feel like nerves have less of a hold on you, because they absolutely do not have a hold on you. Not when we start to understand them and understand to work with them and train them out of us. So at the core, nerves are your senses interpreting information incorrectly. Your five senses, I know you obviously know what they are, but sight, sound, taste, smell, touch. So your nervous system is interpreting the information that's coming in through your five senses incorrectly. However, this is usually preceded by stories that we tell ourselves either consciously or unconsciously. So there's usually a story that we're telling ourselves first. Then the senses start interpreting information from our external world incorrectly, which matches up with the story that we're telling ourselves. That then triggers the nervous system into sensing danger, even though there is no danger, it's inaccurately interpreting it. And then we start to behave from a place of fear. And that's why we start to think things are going to go wrong. So let's go to the stories then, because we've got the mental side of this, which is going on, which is the stories. And then we've got the physical side, the physiology of the nervous system. So the stories then. Part of these stories can come from the pressure that we are putting on ourselves. And as I've already said, it can be conscious or unconscious. Unconscious means we're just simply not aware of it. So the very fact that you are holding down a day job or family commitments, the very fact that you've got people around you who keep asking about your acting career and what's happening next, and have you got any auditions and what's coming up next, and have you got any work? You're trying your hardest to network and get yourself known. The fact that you are on the lookout constantly for auditions or constantly writing off to agents, the fact that you want to give your all with your performances and with your audition requests, the fact that you're taking a gamble because we know there's no guarantees with an acting career, all of this pressure can either be conscious or unconscious, and it can feel, again, consciously or unconsciously, like a lot is riding on this one audition that we get or this one performance that we get. And we feel on some level like we need to prove ourselves. Point in case, an actress who is in our Unstoppable Actors Facebook group commented on our Wednesday Wobbles post. So we do this every Wednesday where you can just get your wobbles off your chest about anything acting related. And she commented to say she'd been given a role through recommendation because the other actress could no longer do this role. And what started to happen is the story in her head was that she was panicking she hadn't done enough. She hadn't done enough prep. She hadn't got enough time to do enough prep. Will her performance be good enough? By me sharing this with you, can you hear how this story is starting to trigger the nervous system and form the nerves? It's called mental tension. This is an added pressure you do not need. So these stories that you tell yourself become emotionalized, which is why she started to panic. There's the emotion, the fear. So then what starts to happen is the nervous system will now take this information that you've emotionalized and it will begin interpreting through your senses incorrectly. So for example, You might look at the director and catch a look on the director's face and believe this fits your story. You might believe that they look disappointed in your performance because you are coming from a place of fear, and the nervous system now believes that you are in danger and it is trying to do anything that it can to get you to survive. Or on the other side of this, you can start to imagine everything going wrong. And because you're imagining everything going wrong, you're triggering your feelings, which is triggering that feeling of panic, fear, chaos inside of you. And your nervous system is kicking into fight or flight because it's like, right, we're in danger. We've got to try and survive this. When this happens, you'll start to experience the things that I mentioned earlier on in the episode. So it might be that you're actually critiquing yourself and criticizing yourself and judging everything that you're doing during the scene without even realizing it, because that's that nervous system kicking in, trying to get you to survive. So that's why you critique yourself. Or it could be that your mouth is getting dry or your heart is pounding. You might have that physiological response. That's because obviously your body's preparing you to fight. It could be that you lose your lines. That's because when your body's preparing you to survive something, it doesn't need memory. So it shuts down your memory, and that's why your lines seemingly disappear out of your head. So all of these things happen because you are in fight or flight, and your nervous system has interpreted things incorrectly, usually because we've started to tell ourselves a story. That's not necessarily true. It's usually catastrophizing, future projecting, and it's just worries. So this is why in method acting, the very first thing we do is not even pick up a script or jump into a character. We have to start with the preparation of the act first. We train you in relaxation first, because we have to train the nervous system not to believe these stories in our mind, because we want full clarity and control over our emotions, over our imagination, and over our physicality to be able to truthfully express the intentions of the character and who they are. So this is why we start with the methods chair relaxation. We're also reconditioning you as the actor and retraining you to know that your nervous system doesn't need to fear any performance. You are not in danger, because that's what's at the very heart of all of this. Your body thinks you're in danger and you're not. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. You are not going to ruin your career by being nervous. Yes, you might drop a line here or there. It's not the end of the world. I've done it plenty of times in performances and I still get cast. And there are absolutely plenty of A-list actors who drop lines. They still get cast. They still have a career. So we start with the methods chair relaxation exercise simply to get you present and grounded. What I hope this episode is doing for you is helping you understand on a deeper level what's going on and reassuring you to know that you can actually work your way out of this. I think it's so reassuring that you can train yourself out of nerves, because it gives you endless possibilities. I just want to leave you with something that I often tell my acting students in class. And I always say the worst thing that could happen is you could die in the middle of an audition or in the middle of a performance. And unless you've got an underlying health condition that you don't know about, that I don't know about, that no one else knows about, that's not going to happen. So take the pressure off yourself. As I've already mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I've created a course that is going to be free for the first 500 actors, and it's called The Nerve Destroyer, Lose Yourself in the Role, a complete training for new and early career actors. I've coached actors for nearly 14 years, but I do want to make sure that I've got all bases covered, as I've already said. So please could you go and share your experience with nerves with me by going to bit.ly/unpicknerves and answering 5 very short questions, or simply just click the link underneath the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I hope you feel more educated and reassured when it comes to nerves.
I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.